Hey Mama, welcome to the podcast. My name is Jocelyn and I am glad that you're here listening, trying to improve yourself mentally to find more positivity in your motherhood and also during those pregnancies. You are listening to a Tuesday episode where I focus more on motherhood specific things that I'm learning about or studying. And on Fridays, I do more pregnancy-focused episodes for those who are pregnant. So tell your mom friends, your pregnant friends about this podcast and how it has helped you. I would surely appreciate it. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, fellow mom of 5 and host of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find the positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Let's find positivity during our pregnancies and in our motherhood together. Thanks for joining. If you've been following along, I have been doing a little series on emotional resilience, and the things that I am learning are coming from a book called Finding Strength in the Lord, Emotional Resilience, and this is put out by my church, and I've always wanted to go through it, study it, learn more about it, and the podcast was a great opportunity to do that. So today we are talking about anger, understanding anger, and trying our best to overcome. Here's a quote. Everyone experiences anger. There are countless reasons to feel angry. We can't always control angry feelings, and it is easy to feel justified in our anger. We may even feel better in the moment after expressing anger in aggressive ways. But expressing anger doesn't help us feel better in the long term, and it can result in strained relationships, physical illness, financial loss, and spiritual or even physical damage to self and others. The Savior taught the Nephites, "There shall be no disputations among you, for verily, verily, I say unto you, he that hath the spirit of contention is not of me, but is of the devil, who is the father of contention. And he stirreth up the hearts of men to contend with anger one with another. Behold, this is not my doctrine, to stir up the hearts of men to anger one with another, one against another, but this is my doctrine, that such things should be done away." And if you are a mother raising children, as I'm sure most of my audience is, you have probably had some experiences with feeling angry at your children, especially if they're a little bit older and know all those ways to get under your skin. You know what I'm talking about. In fact, I'm going to give a little example of that. This one actually does come from the book, and then I'll give you a couple of examples from my own life. The example is, I bought new shoes for my son. He left them out last night and they were stolen. Or he left them out and they got ruined in the weather or something like that. How did I respond? This is from the book. I got upset with my son and yelled at him for being irresponsible and leaving the shoes outside. What was the result? My son was afraid of me and didn't want to talk to me. He loved those shoes and feels worse about his mistake. When we allow ourselves to dwell on angry thoughts, our bodies also react. Physical reactions in the body increase our emotional temperature level. Certain behaviors can intensify our anger, so learning skills that can help us cool down is an important part of managing anger. And that is what I have had to learn. So a couple instances where I distinctly remember acting out in more aggressive anger was one when my son went to laminate something and he was young and he still remembers this and reminds me of it, but it completely messed up. He completely messed up whatever we were laminating, and I way overreacted on such a little child. He was probably only 3 or 4. and just got really angry and mad and upset and took it out on him, I guess, through just being verbally rude. And kind of as it said in the book, it might feel good in the moment, but after, it does not feel good. And that is exactly how I felt. I did not feel good after. In fact, I had to apologize to him, tell him I'm sorry, and realize that I needed some serious ways to cope with anger, because that is not the kind of mom I wanted to be. I did not want to be a yelling, screaming, getting upset over little things like that. Another instance was when someone spilt milk. I'm sure you've heard the saying, it's no use crying over spilt milk. Well, I don't like cleaning up milk. It's stinky, it's gross, it smells up the rags, it's just not fun to clean up spilt milk. And I overreacted, and same thing, I just got really mad, yelled, like, why did you spill? That's so dumb, like, don't do that. I mean, those aren't exactly what I said, but nonetheless, it was not uplifting and not encouraging. And again, I realized this is not the person I want to be. I have got to figure this out. I don't want to be a yelling mom. I don't want to be in these habits. And some of these suggestions that I'm going to read you in the book do help me as well. So we will talk about that. So behaviors that can heat up your anger and make it like fuel the fire are making accusations, arguing while angry, yelling, screaming, shouting, dwelling on hurt feelings, planning revenge, or engaging in any form of violence. So if you want to cool the anger, these are some things that can help. Counting to 10 or higher. That is a good one. Non-competitive exercising. So sometimes you just have to remove yourself and go for a walk. That's what I have to do. I just sometimes have to clear my mind, or if I have littles and I'm not able to go for a walk, I need to set the littles somewhere where they're safe and then proceed to do some type of like indoor walking or indoor exercise to help me, or even just take the kids for a walk if the weather's good enough. Go outside. Fresh air definitely is one I use a lot. Choosing helpful thoughts. Now, as I have learned and studied more about thoughts and realizing that I have the agency to choose, it has been so powerful in helping me to overcome my angry outbursts that I used to have. I do not have them as often, and I am so grateful. There are still triggering moments. We will talk a little bit more about this and the underlying emotions that we can be experiencing. Nonetheless, we still have the ability to choose how we want to respond. And knowing that I have the choice, I am not subject to my emotions, has been freeing and powerful. Another one is listening to calm music. That can also help cool anger, and take deep breaths. So the thing with anger is there is usually underlying emotions. So let me explain that. So when I talked about the whole lamination thing and my son messing it up, or the spilt milk, or think of any other instance in your life where you have felt angry. It may not be exactly like mine, but I'm sure there might be something similar. Was that the true reason for your anger? Now, sometimes it might be, like the shoes thing that I mentioned at the beginning. That could be the true reason for your anger. But oftentimes we have underlying emotions. So for me, and I'm pretty sure this is how it was for me, I was stressed about, probably about money, probably about groceries, about eating healthy, about losing weight, about my husband. I don't know. There's a myriad of things that I'm sure I felt stressed or negative emotion over, and it just kind of came out on my son, which is totally unfair. Here is a list of underlying emotions and feelings that could be causing your anger. Resentful, disappointed, ashamed, hopeless, guilty, overwhelmed, embarrassed, frustrated, inferior, grief, insensitive, heartbroken, afraid, anxious, worried, threatened, nervous, rejected, entitled, hurt, offended, victimized, lonely, injustice, hunger, fatigue, and unmet expectations. That's a big list of emotions that can be behind the anger. So here's an example in the book. It says, you told your son to clean his room before playing with friends, but he ignored you and played with his friends instead. So this is a response that can heat your anger. Thinking, so if you're thinking this child will never listen to me. I don't like being a parent. No matter what I do, I can't get through to my child. That will heat up your anger and could make things difficult. So we'll talk more about this. Some of the underlying emotions and experiences that can relate to this are the unmet expectations, disappointment, blame, or hurt. So a response that can cool the anger is thinking this: he is still young and learning why it's important to have a clean room and listen to his parents. Maybe I need to help him understand why we take care of our things. I will calmly talk to him about ways we can do that. So not only does realizing we have the agency to choose give us power, but making these choices consciously actually will help our relationships as well. Can you imagine how your son would feel if you freaked out on him about not cleaning his room versus if you calmly talked to him? I feel like there's a difference in the way that our kids can respond. Well, and then in the way we respond to our kids. And you're probably going to be like, yeah, but even I have tried talking to him calmly and that doesn't work. There is a calm way to do things for your particular child that will work. It may take creativity. It may take a lot of prayer. It may take patience and effort. But I do believe there is a way to get it done without anger. And this is still something that I am working on, because sometimes I still just get annoyed and I am like, it better be done now. It is a work in progress, this raising children, and getting away from anger is such a good thing, not only for you, but for your family as well. We get to choose to respond in different ways. I want to read this to you. It's important to understand the connection between anger and agency. As things happen in our life, we may feel anger, but we are able to choose how to respond to this feeling, to become angry or to become charitable, kind, and generous. And I'll admit, sometimes you do have to cool off though. And when it comes to like disagreements with my husband, sometimes it's not just a 10-minute cool off. I need like a day or two, or at least to sleep the night to cool off a little bit. There's an example in this book. It talks about a situation where an athletically talented young man tried out for and made a sports team. So now I'm reading from the book. On the first day of practice, the coach had the young man play against another player while the team watched. When he missed an easy shot, he became angry and stomped and whined. The coach walked over to him and said, "You pull a stunt like that again, you'll never play for my team." For the next 3 years, he never lost control again. Years later, as he reflected back on this incident, he realized that the coach had taught him a life-changing principle that day. Anger can be controlled. I really like this next quote. So this actually has been useful to me. It says, "One way you can choose to respond is through humor." Elder Jeffrey R. Holland taught, "Jesus found special joy and happiness in children and said all of us should be more like them, guileless and pure, quick to laugh and to love and forgive." Being able to laugh at yourself or find humor in a situation helps you better cope with life's unexpected frustrations and disappointments. Uplifting humor can help improve your attitude, relationships, and health. This kind of humor does not offend or embarrass others. As it says in Proverbs, "A merry heart doeth good like medicine." While it may not be appropriate to laugh all the time, most people could benefit by laughing more. And this is true when it comes to the spilled milk or things that get broken. You can make those instances heavy and feel very hard for everyone. Or you can just kind of laugh it off, like the spilt milk. Laugh about it. I remember one time it'd been like a week of messes. Like spills just happened all the time. And to add to it, one of my daughters spilled pure maple syrup. Like a lot of it. It broke the top of the jar and half of it came out. And if you know, pure maple syrup is not very cheap either. And it made a big mess, and I had already had a million spills, and instead of just crying, yelling out in frustration, I just decided to laugh. Like, wow, look at my life. look at where we are at, and you know what? This is beautiful. I have so many messes, but I have so many beautiful children here. And you know what? We're gonna be okay. We'll clean this syrup up and we'll be fine. And that was a more positive way to handle that situation. And I know my kids felt better about that too. Making these little shifts is amazing. So I'm going to close with these last couple of thoughts. Living in unity with Jesus Christ can help you feel peace instead of anger. The mighty change of heart that comes from being unified with Jesus Christ can help you want to forgive others, do good continually, and wait upon the Lord. The Holy Ghost will fill you with love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. Maybe you do have an anger problem, and maybe it's almost like an addiction to where you feel like you need to be angry. I encourage you to turn to Christ, to pray for help, to pray for the cooling techniques, or the thoughts you can think to help you move and shift away from anger. This is from the book as well. Anger can lead to violent or abusive behavior. Domestic violence is different than minor disagreements. No one is expected to endure abusive behavior or violence. There's resources at my church. I'll put them in the show notes if you need some abuse help. If you are the victim of domestic violence, get help immediately, including contacting appropriate authorities. The church does not tolerate abuse of any kind. President Gordon B. Hinckley said, We condemn most strongly abusive behavior in any form. We denounce the physical, sexual, verbal, or emotional abuse of one's spouse or children. Whether you are a victim or a perpetrator, seek help now if you are caught in a web of abuse. Your bishop and other church leaders can help you heal. Now, that's for those who are really, your anger has turned into something more and is destroying relationships. But if you are just struggling with cooling down, use some of these tips. Breathe, go outside, just say, I need a break. I will talk to you when I've breathed. Remove yourself from the situation. There's some times when, kind of like this scenario, I've asked my kids to do something and they didn't do it. Before I get angry, I just have to remove myself from the situation. Breathe. Sometimes I have to remind myself, will this matter in 5 years? It may seem really important at the time, but will it really matter? Is it really worth me getting upset over? Simple shifts like that, praying for help and guidance, and knowing how to respond differently when you respond in ways that you don't want to, will be powerful. God is there. He is willing to help. There was probably something in this podcast that stood out to you. Use it to help you in these endeavors. I'm cheering for you. I know that I have found more joy and peace in my motherhood as I have been able to overcome some of my anger. Also know I'm not perfect. It still happens. I still sometimes do yell at my kids, but it has improved quite significantly, and I am very grateful for that. And I know that if I can do that, you can too. I am cheering for you, Mama. We can do this. We can improve together. Reach out with any tips, suggestions for anger, or if you would like help, reach out on my email, which is positivityinpregnancy@gmail.com. It's in the show notes. I would love to help you or to hear your suggestions, things that have helped you. If you need help dealing with negative emotion, I also have a class that I recorded a couple years ago about dealing with that negative emotion. It goes right along with anger because it will give you tips on how to release the negative emotion, which oftentimes is ways the anger comes out. So check that out. That link will also be in the show notes, or my website is positivityinpregnancy@gmail.com. Well, that's the email. And then the website is positivityinpregnancy.com. Anyways, we will chat again next week, Mama. Thank you for being a part of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts and becoming the mother that you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. Thanks for joining. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward in your motherhood. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.